State Police, what do you prefer? State Police.
Yeah, there's somebody after me.
I'm sorry?
There's somebody after me.
Where are you?
There's somebody after me.
Okay, where are you?
There's somebody after me.
Where are you, ma'am?
I don't know.
You're driving right now?
No, I'm inside the house.
I'm sorry?
I'm inside the house.
What house?
I don't know. Can you trace where I am?
I'm sorry?
Can you trace where I am?
No, I can't. What's your callback number you're calling from?
Huh?
What phone number are you calling from?
Somebody's after me. Please.
Are you in Suffolk County or Nassau County?
I'm in Long Island.
Where on Long Island are you?
No. 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 No, stop, no.
Where in Long Island are you? In Suffolk County? Nassau County?
In 2010, a desperate Shannon Gilbert made a 911 call from a gated community on Long Island, New York, where she was visiting a client. This call would be her last, as she vanished shortly after the call, sparking a search that led to the discovery of a crime so sinister it would shock the country for years to come, with no answer in sight. What happened to Shannon that evening, and did her one case turn from a happy beach into a graveyard of unspeakable horrors?
People think that she's a victim of the Long Island serial killer or not. Something happened to her that night.
The bizarre story of the Shannon Gilbert case started in May 2010, when Shannon took an order unlike any she has ever taken. Raised in foster care, 24-year-old Shannon Gilbert was raised in a foster home and aspired to be a singer. However, holding on to her dream but unable to achieve it, Shannon worked as a criminal escort. To anyone who has met her, Shannon was a truly nice and loving person. She cared for her loved ones and used the proceeds of her job to take care of her family and those around her. Sadly, this very job would lead her to what is arguably the worst night ever. It all began when she got an order from a new client named Joseph Brewer, who lived on Oak Beach, Long Island. Joseph was a first-time client of her services, and as such, Shannon went to his house with a sort of bodyguard named Michael Pat. A few minutes into entering the house, Shannon called 911.
People think that she's a victim of the Long Island serial killer or not. Something happened to her that night.
From the call, Shannon was afraid and was trying to escape men who she claimed were trying to kill her. However, all wasn't as it seemed, as Shannon suffered from bipolar syndrome and wasn't on medication. And so after making the call, Michael and Joseph tried to calm down Shannon. Sadly, they failed, and she soon made her way out of the house and into the streets, frantically knocking on random doors and asking for them to help her. In the end, Shannon ran into the darkness, and this would be the last time she would be seen alive. As the days went on, the search for Shannon intensified with no end in sight. But what it lacked in leads was that the case was made up in confusion, as in the 7 months of the search, a total of 4 bodies were discovered in or around Oak Beach. But how? What happened? Well, it all started in December when Detective John and his cadaver dogs searched an area along the Ocean Parkway near the remote beach towns of Gilgo and Oak Beach in Suffolk County, and, to their horror, discovered what can only be described as a serial killer graveyard. Named the Gilgo 4, Detective John found the mangled and dismembered remains of 4 ladies who were found within a quarter of a mile of each other. Perhaps the strangest part was that all 4 women were of the same age, body, and height as Shannon. To make the case more perplexing, all 4 females were Craigslist escorts and were suspected to have all been killed by one person.
Which means his tail started waving. He started sampling the air. At that point, I saw the skeletal remains of a body.
2 days later, 3 more women were found, their bodies dumped in a similar way along the north side of Ocean Parkway.
Police saying today they were dumped separately over the last year and a half.
25-year-old Maureen Brainerd Barnes reported missing from Norwich, Connecticut, July 2007. 24-year-old Melissa Bartholomew reported missing from the Bronx, July 2009. 22-year-old Megan Waterman reported missing in Maine, June 2010. And 27-year-old Amber Lynn Costello, last seen in North Babylon, Long Island, September 2010.
That was when the world was first exposed to the Long Island serial killer.
You're certain the same person murdered these 4 and dumped them here?
Well, look, I don't think it's a coincidence that 4 bodies in this area. Certainly, we're looking at that.
Shannon's body would later be found. Almost a year later, on December 13th, 2011, she was found in a marsh near Oak Beach.
After an exhaustive, methodical, massive search, we have this day at approximately 9:14 a.m. located a set of skeletal remains we believe at this time to belong to the missing Shannon Gilbert.
Following her discovery, Shannon's case took a confusing twist as the commissioner in charge claimed her death was accidental and not due to the works of the Long Island serial killer.
Over the next few years, there was debate over whether Gilbert was killed or drowned in the marsh, as suggested by Police Commissioner Dormer. But after 2011...
But why was this controversial? Well, the problem came because the commissioner made this claim before the medical examiner in charge could make his final assessment. According to the medical examiner, Shannon had been exposed to the elements for so long that it was more or less impossible to find out what happened.
Fresh eyes to look at the entire investigation that took place. Something's really wrong with the way the police handled this.
Somebody found her and took her, potentially gave her something to maybe calm her down, and she accidentally died. And then they took her body, this is my theory, through the roadside.
Shannon's death
Obviously angered, Shannon's family would hire their own medical examiner. The examiner would then claim that Shannon's death was actually inconclusive, but she could have been strangled. He said this because Shannon suffered damage to the bones in her neck. Over the years, the search for Shannon's body that exposed the Long Island serial killer would lead to the discovery of over 17 bodies, which would remain unsolved. Many have been accused, but as time goes on, the case deepens, leaving officers perplexed and distraught. But perhaps the craziest part of this case is the 911 call itself. See, the call took over 10 years and 2 judge orders to be released to the public. But why? How does one call destroy the whole operation? Well, according to the police department, releasing the call would affect an ongoing investigation, a sentence that many would stand strongly against. And although the call has now been released and the investigation is still in full throttle, the one thing everyone can say for sure is that Shannon's case revealed a demon, one that would remain elusive and hunt Long Island for years. But what do you think? Did Shannon meet the Long Island killer, or did something else happen that night? More importantly, where do you stand on the 911 call? Let us know in the comments section below, and while you're at it, make sure to hit the like and subscribe button to stay up to date with all the latest true crime stories. Until next time, stay vigilant.